The main question is, how are the cats doing? I think they are doing perfectly fine, but they're now fighting because they don't like that I took them together. They have complicated relationships. Hello everybody, I'm very glad to see you today on my channel. Thank you very much for your comments and questions under the last video. I spent very pleasant time reading your kind words, guys. Thank you very much. And thank you also for ordering my husband's book. He was very excited to see that some of you were interested, and he is now thrilled to see the reviews because he's very interested how you like the book, and he's like checking every day if there are new reviews. Today I'm doing a Q&A, and I combined some of your questions because there were a lot of similar ones, and I also divided them into categories. Let's jump right in because I feel like this video will be quite long. Do you see yourself staying in Georgia long term? Why do you plan to leave Georgia, and where exactly do you want to go? Europe, USA, something else? We don't see ourselves staying in Georgia long term. If long term means like 20 years, 10 years, even 5 years, we don't really see us staying here. The main reason is because the process of getting legal documents here is pretty complicated. I mean, like citizenship, permanent residence permit, all the registrations and everything is kind of complicated. And when you live in the foreign country, you really want to have legal documents proving why do you live in that country, like registration, citizenship, everything. It makes your life safe. Like right now, we are considered just foreigners here, so every time we enter the country, they cannot not let us in the country, or we can't take a loan here, or we can't buy land here, and many other things. And right now we have only Russian documents, so if anything happens to our documents, we'll have to go back to Russia because that's the only documents we have. And also one of the big reasons is that we have 3 children, and in terms of their future, we would love to live in the country where there are more opportunities for them to study the good university, or to more job opportunities, better salaries, just better economical and educational situation. And in Georgia, many young people move abroad for studying and work. And I don't want to share where exactly we want to go until we have like tickets in our hands and I'm, filming a pack with me video or something like that. Because life is so unpredictable nowadays, and for the past 3 years, I've shared a lot of things and they didn't work out, and people were asking, and I was like, these things kind of upset me. And right now with the immigration program, it's very unpredictable whether we will move in that place where we want to, or whether it will not work out. And the timing is very unpredictable, so I just want to keep it secret for now, guys. Is there a reason you need to move every year or so? Is it because you aren't citizens of Georgia? I feel like this question is more about us moving from apartment to apartment. Not really, because we're not citizens, we have to get out of the country once a year and then drive back in. So for example, last year we went to Turkey for a short trip. This year we went to Armenia, just crossing the border and crossing back. We've been moving pretty much every year because of personal reasons, like issues with the places we've been renting, or issues with the landlord, or something else. So like financial things changing, and we've been switching for cheaper options or for better options. So we've been just moving every year or so for personal reasons. Are your son and daughter considered to be Georgian citizens since they were born in Georgia? No, they are not. Most countries don't have that rule that if you're born in the country, you get citizenship. It's pretty rare case for mostly North and South America. You get citizenship only if one of your parents is a citizen and then you're born in the country. But if both your parents are foreigners and you are born in the country, you get a foreign passport as well as your parents' passport. So we got Russian documents for both our son and daughter in the Russian embassy here. What is healthcare like in Georgia versus Russia? How did it work as far as being charged for healthcare, especially since you are not citizens? Do you have health insurance? A lot of questions about healthcare, and mostly from Americans saying that healthcare in the States is expensive, so they are wondering how does it work here. I'll answer the first question about Georgia versus Russia. So in Russia, we used to have public healthcare, which is covered by taxes and like government support. So it's technically free when you need something. For example, I was giving birth with our first daughter for free in Russia in just the public birth hospital. Doctor appointments and everything also is covered, but public healthcare is not the good quality, and doctors most of the time, I didn't like the attitude. They were a little bit mean most of the time, and they were giving not very professional recommendations most of the time I've been there. And in general, I just don't really like public healthcare that we have. It's very good when you don't have money to pay for the healthcare, or when there is an emergency and you need something very fast and easy. But for scheduled appointments, like to the pediatrician, we've been always paying for private hospital care, for private doctors, even when we were on a very low budget, because it was important for me to get good quality healthcare. Here in Georgia, for us, it's not much different because all the hospitals are private, and you need to pay for every health treatment you get. I don't really know. I feel like they don't have public health care like we have in Russia. But for locals, the price is lower. And also some things are covered by the government. So some treatments are free for locals. But I don't really know the details about that. I know that as foreigners, we have to pay the full price, and also that price is higher than for locals. And technically, we can get health insurance, and we should get health insurance, but the price that we pay in the hospital is not that high comparing to the price of monthly paying for insurance for the whole family. Like the basic one that covers only emergency situations, that does not cover like chronic illnesses, cancer, dentists, I don't know, like all of these things, that barely covers doctor appointments, maybe like once a year. The insurance for the whole family costs about $150, $160 a month. For 2-3 days in the emergency, we paid $200. With chickenpox, we paid, I think, $300 for 4 days. And yes, it's much more than the monthly insurance, but emergencies don't happen that often. Like, for example, my husband haven't been to the doctor for 3 years, and so did my 2 girls. They had like a couple of doctor appointments with the pediatrician, and I've been on the checkup, but the checkup is not included in the insurance. So we were like, we didn't know. So every time we count, we kind of don't know what makes more sense for us. I'm a little bit worried about complicated emergency situations, like if we break something, or if there is like a car accident or something like that. So in that case, we should get insurance that is like covering at least emergency, but I didn't do it yet. So I feel like I need just in case. It would not help us much with like basic doctor appointments and checkups, but it might be helpful if there is like a real complicated emergency. How do you communicate with the Georgians, or how did you navigate so many hospital visits in terms of language? Do they speak Russian, or do they speak English, or did you learn Georgian? And did you face any hostility for not speaking Georgian if you don't know it? I know just very basic phrases in Georgian that would not really help me in the like real conversation. About 80% of conversations I have in Georgia usually get switched to Russian or English, depending what language the person knows. So most Georgians speak either English or Russian. Older Georgians usually speak Russian, younger Georgians usually speak English. And it kind of demotivates me for learning Georgian, because I know that we don't plan to live here for a long period of time, and most people speak either English or Russian. And even when I try to speak Georgian to them, they just switch to English or Russian because they see that I'm a foreigner. In the hospital, most doctors I've talked to, also like older doctors, were speaking fluent Russian. Younger doctors were very good in English. Every hospital visit I had, twice with our baby son and twice the birth that I had, none of the nurses spoke any English or Russian. We were just doing, gesture language, basic, words and sounds to understand each other. But most of the time they didn't even need to speak to me. They were just coming, checking some things, maybe giving some medicine. And sometimes I could use like Google Translate, but Google Translate is not very good with Georgian language, so we still didn't understand each other well, even with the translation. I faced hostility once for not speaking Georgian in the hospital and like a couple times in just daily life. So in the hospital, I remember one doctor was mad at me for not speaking Georgian because he didn't speak English and his Russian was not very good, and just me not speaking Georgian made his work harder because he was a doctor, so he needed to talk to me about the baby's health, and he was pretty mad. But I understand. I try to not take it personally, and I understand that he's upset that I'm making his work harder. So yeah, I tried to be like polite and friendly, and he calmed down a little bit after a while. Vika, please, can you do a walk out and about in Georgia? I really want to show you more of Georgia. I'm very shy when it comes to filming outside because people get, like uncomfortable when they see that I'm just walking around and filming like that. But I really want to show you more in my vlogs and maybe just separate videos and maybe like little travel vlogs around Georgia, because I feel like it would be very interesting to you guys. And Georgia is a pretty unique place to live, there are not that many people living here. So yeah, I really want to. I hope I'll show you more. Next category that we have is about children and parenting. As a family who emigrated from your home country, what does your village support system look like? Do you try to find families with children of a similar age or find support through your church community? Back in Russia, we lived far from family. My husband's family lives abroad. My family lives in Russia, but they lived in different city than we lived, and it was pretty far. Like, we lived far from each other. And we've seen my parents maybe like couple times a year, like 3-4 times a year. We are used to just being by ourselves and taking care of our child by ourselves. Back in Russia, we had only one child. When we moved here, not many things changed much in that sense because we were still living far. We still see my parents like a couple times a year maybe. We are doing everything pretty much by ourselves because we don't have any relatives nearby. We have many friends. We have many friends from the church, and we see each other several times a week with different families. Sometimes we get all together. Sometimes we see each other in the church. Sometimes I call somebody and we go to the park. When it comes to like social life and having friends and having children and kind of supporting each other, we have like many people here. But when it comes to taking care of children, we just do everything by ourselves. When I was in the hospital with the baby, my husband still needed to work for some time, and we asked our teenage friend from the church to look after our girls for like half of the day, and she was helping. That was like an emergency situation. When I was giving birth 2 times, my mom was coming to help. And when my husband had a work trip, she also came one time to help me with the children because he was gone for 2 weeks. And it was very helpful. Yeah, but other than that, just in daily life, we kind of used to be by ourselves. Does Agatha have to start school in the near future? And what is school like for you guys if you're doing something already? Agatha is my oldest and she is 5.5. In this part of the world, school starts at 7. The same as in Russia. In Russia also school starts at 7. And she has a birthday in the middle of the school year in winter. So in that case, parents have an option to choose whether to start school at 6.5 or 7.5. And most pediatricians and like children psychologists recommend 7.5. So technically we have 2 more years. Right now because she's 5.5, she already can learn a lot of things. I don't see why we would wait for 7 years. We are learning like reading and counting and writing with her right now, just at home. But yeah, when it comes to like official school age, we'll have to figure out what we should do, and it will depend on where we would live. And yeah, we're thinking right now. We're thinking, discussing different options, but right now we're kind of chill about it yet. How is the dynamic between the 3 with 2 girls versus 1 boy? The girls, they are older and they do everything together. They play together. They have like a strong bond. But the baby boy, he's too little to play with them. And they don't want to play with him because he's little, he doesn't understand how to play, and they are too young to understand that he's too little, because our oldest is 5.5, our middle girl is 3 years old, and our boy just turned 1. And the girls, they just get upset that he breaks everything and that he tries to, grab their hair and grab their, coloring books and like tear apart their books and stuff like that. So they just ask me all the time to get him out of their room. But I don't really worry about that, because I feel like when he grows older and when he learns how to actually play, I feel like they will play all together. Do you have any new children book recommendations? We love the mice book you shared. I brought 3 books that are my children's favorites right now. With our older girl, we enjoy reading longer stories right now, so we're more into books that have more text in it right now. We're also very much into Scandinavian authors right now. I don't know why, I just found their stories very cool, like Astrid Lindgren stories, and these 2 are also Scandinavian authors. So Hudson and Findus books, she loved them since she was like 4.5, so for about a year. They have series with quite a lot of books. It's about an old man and a kitten. They live together in the village, and the kitten acts like a little kid, which is kind of fun, and it feels like a little child living with his grandpa in the village, and they have all the adventures together. And my daughter really loves these books, and she loves the kitten and how like goofy the kitten is. And also another book, it has more text and less pictures. These are like longer stories, and there's also a series. The author is Anne Catherine Wesley. This book is called Dad, Mom, Grandpa, 8 Children and a Truck. I don't know if in English it's the same name, but it's a story about the family with 8 children, which is like the whole point of the book. They have 8 children and they live pretty poor, but they have a lot of fun, they have little adventures, and the book is more about the dynamic in the family, how everybody's loving and cheerful and kind no matter what they're going through. So my daughter really loves these stories. She thinks that they're very interesting, and she just loves everything that happens in the family. Our middle girl, she's 3, and her favorite is The Snail and the Whale. I think it's also a very popular book by Julia Donaldson. I have to read it like five times a day about the snail and the whale traveling experience. I know it by heart already. We have a question on minimalism. Are you still a minimalist? Is it difficult or easy to be minimalist now that you have 3 children? Did family change everything for you? I feel like I would still call myself a minimalist because personally I have very small number of like belongings, and I only like to have what I use and what I like. So if I see that I don't use something, I declutter it very fast. I sell it, I donate it, I throw it away. I just like to know what I have and to know that I use everything I have. So I feel in that sense I'm still a minimalist. I know that minimalism is not about having as little number of things as possible. It's more about just understanding what you need and what you use, and having what you need and what you use and what you like, and getting rid of everything else. But even in the sense of the amount of stuff, I still have quite a small number. Of course, when it's 5 people, they in total they will have more stuff than just one person, right? And also when it comes to the family, children have different needs than adults. So I don't need toys, my children need toys. I don't need Play-Doh, my children need Play-Doh, right? I don't need to change my clothes every half a year. My children need to, because they grow out of their clothes. Like, children have different needs, and they have more stuff than I do, and I feel like that's normal. I just see it as a need. Like, I look at the toys and I say, well, we need these toys, so of course we'll have them. We need these children books. I don't need books technically for myself. I have an ebook, like a Kindle ebook, but I buy a lot of children books because they can't read Kindle. They need a book, like big colorful book, right? So I buy a lot of these books, and I see it as a need of the family, like all the scooters and bicycles and everything. But I'm still pretty minimal, I can say, in terms of having extra stuff, and I always think ahead about everything we buy, whether we really need it, or maybe we just, maybe it's just a fun thing that we want to add. We declutter the toys with the kids 3-4 times a year. We go through all their toys with our older daughter. She's quite used to that, and during the year she sometimes brings me toys and say, Mom, we don't need it, I want to declutter it. And I say, throw it in the declutter bin. And yeah, and when we go through all their toys, they also get rid of a lot of things, and I explain to them that, hey guys, if you don't like something, if you don't need something, if you don't use something, it's better to find a new home for this thing than just storing it in the house. And we also have a small space, so I get rid of everything as soon as I understand that we don't need it anymore. Can you have a minimalist wardrobe tour or an apartment tour? I can do separate little videos on, like, minimalist kitchen tour. We have pretty small kitchen. Or like minimalist closet tour. We have a small closet with all of our clothes and bed sheets and towels and seasonal things. Yeah, I can do something like that. I feel like that would be interesting for you guys. For those who are interested in minimalism, for those who are not, I feel it still would be interesting for any of you guys to see, because I like to see what other people have in their, like, wardrobes and kitchen cabinets. I feel like that's very interesting. Then we had several questions on religion and my husband's ministry. Are you Orthodox? No, we are Protestant Christians. Does your husband really get paid to be a priest? He's not a priest and he's not a pastor. He is like a helper pastor, like a second pastor. He doesn't have a pastor's title officially yet, but he's doing everything together with the main pastor. He's doing preaching every other Sunday. He's doing liturgy service every other Sunday. Like, they switch turns who's doing what. And when it comes to church organization, all the, like, church decisions, they do things most of the time together. So he's like a second pastor that doesn't get qualified yet, doesn't have a title yet. And he doesn't get paid for that. He gets paid from the Christian Ministry Organization for editing and uploading videos for several churches on YouTube. He's doing YouTube accounts for several churches, like managing them and editing videos for them. And also for the Christian seminary. That's where his salary comes from. But for the local ministry, like in the church, on the home group, he doesn't get paid for it. And things he's doing on YouTube and Instagram, he's doing for free because they're not getting monetized. He's doing a lot of things just because he's passionate about that, but he only gets paid for the YouTube managing for the churches. What made your husband to go into the ministry? I don't know, he was always very passionate about that, so he was always serving in the church. but also working in a different sphere when we were in Russia. And when we moved here, I feel like he had a little personal crisis, and he was rethinking his life and what he's doing, and he just said that that's like ministry and theology and writing books and teaching people on the Bible, about the Bible. It's something that he's very passionate about, and that's something that he really wants to do. He's reading books all the time on theology, and just loves to preach and to do lectures. So I feel like that's just a passion that he has. I would love to hear about your faith, like why do you believe the way you do and how it shapes your life. I love that this question is very deep, so thank you. I used to be a pretty sad, depressed teenager because I had a lot of existential questions in my head, like questions about the soul and the universe and life and death. These questions were living rent-free in my head and made me very sad, and just I was thinking too much. Once I found out about the Lord and Jesus, and once I had my faith, I feel like it just changed me very much, and it gave me joy in life, and it gave me an understanding and answers to my questions. I was a completely different person before I had my faith, and I feel like my life would look very different and would be quite miserable. That's my assumption. Even 10 years from now, I was a Christian already, but I was just a different person, because when you build a relationship with the Lord, it just changes everything, and it's a process. It doesn't change everything over like one day. It's a long process of building relationship and learning about yourself and about the Lord. You ask, like, how does it shape your life? It shapes everything, every part of my life, like the family I have, the children I have, the relationship I have with them, the relationship I build with other people, just work choices that I do, just hobby choices that I do, literally everything. Like, what do I think when the trouble happens? What do I think when good things happen? What do I feel like when people hurt me? You know, everything is shaped by my understanding of the Lord and my relationship with Him. That's why I say it's a very deep question. You can dig very, very long time and still have something to answer here. Let's move to the last category I have. I feel like my baby woke up. Ta-da! Ta-da! He has crazy hair after sleeping. He's very blonde. And he's very interested in everything that I have standing here. Finally, a quick set of very random questions. What's with your old house that you were renovating? We sold it, and I filmed a video about it. I'll put a link in the description if some of you missed it. We thought at that period of time that we would move in a couple of months to another country, because we had one interview with our immigration program, and usually it takes several months after the interview, but we didn't move. Our program got a little bit stuck, but we sold the house. I remember you had to bury one of your rats. How is the second one feeling right now? Or has it sadly passed away too? We had fancy rats, just cute little rats in the cage, and yes, I filmed that one of them passed away. And I remember filming about the second one too, but maybe I didn't post it. I don't really remember. It was quite a long time ago. It passed away too, about 2 weeks after the first one. I feel like it was sad without his body. And they were also the same age, so rats unfortunately don't live long. They live about 2-3 years. Did your son have eczema, ichthyosis? My son had a severe form of atopic dermatitis. I'm curious, what languages do your children speak? What language do you speak at home? We speak Russian. It's my native language, my husband's native language. Most of our friends speak Russian, and our family members. So that's our native language. English is a foreign language to me. I just learned it, and I speak it only with people who don't know Russian. I speak it with Georgians here, I speak it with Americans here, with Europeans here, or I speak it with you guys because I decided to do YouTube in English for like worldwide community. I started to say some words and phrases in English when I'm playing with my older daughter, so she would kind of naturally through playing learn English a little bit, but still we speak Russian. I feel this question is kind of related. Why do you call your children this kid or that kid? I find it strange that you don't say my son or my daughter. Sometimes I say some things that might sound weird, but not because I'm weird, but because of the language barrier. As I said, English is a foreign language to me, and very often I say things that to me sound fine in Russian, or how I would say them in Russian. But maybe you guys don't speak like that. Maybe the word is just not very fitting, or the phrase doesn't sound right, or kind of strange. But most of the time it's because of the language barrier. I might be weird sometimes, but most of the time it's just the language. Usually in Russian, when I'm talking to my friends, I say just my children names. Like if my friends know my children, I just say like Agatha did that or Mark did that. When I'm talking to people who've seen my children but probably don't remember their names, I most of the time say like my older daughter, my middle daughter, like my son. When I'm talking to strangers, most of the time I say just my first child or my older child or my little child, my baby. Because I'm filming, I don't really know if you remember my children's names, if you remember what genders we have, how old they are. Maybe you are watching my videos first time. So I like just naturally to me I say more like my first child, my second child. Somebody asked why not move back to Russia. I understand that some of you might have that question, but we moved 3 years ago for specific reasons, and nothing changed, but things are getting only worse there in Russia. So we don't plan to move back. We really hope that we would be able to live abroad and to get legal documents and maybe citizenship abroad. So we don't plan to move back. What are some helpful ways you found to cope with stress and overwhelm? And this person also asked, do you think you'll restart posting on Instagram? My natural reaction to stress is snacking on chocolates and fast food. It doesn't make me feel better, it makes me feel only worse in the long period of time. What I actually find helpful is to get into nature more. Every time we have trips to the local lake or to the park, I feel much better, and it significantly calms down my nervous system. And also another thing, deleting all the social media. That's why I kept the question about Instagram here, because I don't plan to come back and posting on Instagram, because I deleted it quite a while ago, and I have complicated relationship with Instagram. I feel like it messes with my mental health a lot. So I don't have TikTok, and I never had TikTok. I never had Snapchat. I don't use Facebook. I had Instagram, and I love Instagram a lot. I truly do. And I love all the creators there that I've been subscribed to, but it does more harm to me than good. So maybe I should talk in a separate video about that. But yeah, I don't use it. I just deleted it. So if you've been subscribed to my Instagram, you can unsubscribe, guys. I'm not going to post there, at least for now. That's how I'm feeling. What is something like hobby, book, food that given you a lot of happiness lately? And are you looking forward to autumn? Yes, I am looking forward to autumn, because summer here is very hot. So we're waiting for the fall, because the fall is so beautiful here. It's warm, it's sunny, you're just walking around in a t-shirt or like light jacket, and it's beautiful. So we really love traveling when it's fall here. And I hope we can have some more trips in like September, October, November. And when it comes to hobbies, 5,000 pieces of puzzles, guys. 5,000 pieces. I love puzzles, but I usually do like 1,000, 1,500. And my husband decided to gift me this for my birthday, and I didn't open it yet because I just look at it and I feel stressed. Because I mean 5,000 pieces, how can you actually, that's literally seems impossible to me, but I need to do that. I need to make the puzzle piece. How do you plan your meals? Do you buy groceries every day, etc., etc.? There were many questions on food and meals, and I plan to just share some meals in my vlogs like I used to do. And maybe if you want, I can film like what I eat in a day video, or as I said, I was thinking about filming a kitchen tour, and I also can share some of the like meal planning and groceries I do, but not in this video because talking about food is too long. The last 2 questions, guys. What's your favorite Bible verse? I had to find it in English, but I'll read it to you right now. It's from Song of Songs. Song of Songs 8:7. Many waters cannot quench love, rivers cannot sweep it away. If one were to give all the wealth of one's house for love, it would be utterly scorned. That's my favorite Bible verse. How did you imagine your life would be like 10 years ago? And what were your plans and dreams? And where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? I feel like that's a perfect question to finish today's video. 10 years ago, I was 17. I just turned 27 last month. And when I was 17, I thought I would have a husband and we would just work online and travel the world and have fun, and that's pretty much what I was thinking. 10 years from now, I would love to see myself in a country where we would be settled and where we would not think about any immigration documents, bureaucracy, anything like that. Build a house or like buy a house and, you know, make cool like children rooms for the kids, to have a home library and travel around with children exploring the world around, the country, other countries, maybe grow a family and just make it healthier, stronger, happier, do good things in life and build something that is important, like a family, but also to just have joy in everyday life. Thank you guys very much for your questions, and thank you guys for watching if you're still watching here. Thank you very much, and I hope you liked the questions and answers, and this video was interesting to you guys, and I hope to see you in my next video, which probably is going to be the vlog I plan to film this week. So see you guys, bye bye. I made a video everything seemed like, okay, I'm trying to answer questions. Does your ichthyosis anyway, and he still has some pieces left on his cheek. Кондиционер. He's a very active baby and he likes to wrestle and he likes to break things. So that's what he's doing 99% of his time. I texted my husband that Mark is awake and he knows what it means. It means that he needs to come and help me because I won't be able to film any single question with this buddy running around. Ты такой смешной.